Welcome to Speedway Harley-Davidson. Today we got something very different for you. We are taking out this 2021 Honda Rebel 1100. Now, before I give you some of the things I've learned about this bike, let's take a look at it. Okay, so real quick, despite the name, the motor is not an 1100 motor. It is actually a 1087 cc motor. It's putting out 67 foot-pounds of torque and 81 horsepower. The weight of this bike is 509 pounds. It's got a 3.6 gallon tank. You've got a seat height of 27.6 inches. You've got LED lighting in the front as well as in the rear. You've got the Showa piggyback shocks. The bike comes with ride modes, cruise control, and does it look like it's missing something? As well as here, this bike is DCT, which stands for dual clutch transmission. Basically, that means this motorcycle is automatic. So let's get on the road and see what this automatic Honda Rebel 1100 actually feels like. Okay, so once you cut the bike on, you're greeted to this analog display. Has decent illumination. You can cycle through ride modes by hitting this button right here. Right now we're in rain. It has a standard mode, sport mode, and looks like a user custom mode. We're going to experience rain, standard, and sport mode here today. You get your temperature right there, which it shows it's 76 degrees out here. Looks like the bike has a total amount of mileage of 3,605 miles. So definitely low mileage still on this pre-owned motorcycle. To crank it up, you hit this button right here. Right here, you have a neutral and a drive button. You also can hit this button right here to switch it into manual mode. You're not going to get a clutch and you're not going to get a shifter, but you have these paddles right here. Shifting down is there, shifting up is on the other side. This bike also comes standard with cruise control, and you got this mode button here that'll let you go through different options on the display. That's about what I'm familiar with on this Honda motorcycle, but let's get her cranked up and see how it feels on the road. All right, so this is a parallel twin motorcycle. Throw her in drive and you just roll on the throttle. All right, so before we get out here on the road, let's talk about ergonomics. I am 6 feet tall. My legs are almost at a right angle. My knees are up a little bit higher than I would like them to be. The handlebars are a little lower than I would like as well. But overall, I am in an okay seating position for my height. I feel like this bike would be ideal for someone shorter than my height, maybe around 5'10" and shorter. If you're taller than 6 feet tall, this bike may not be that comfortable for you without making some adjustments to your seating position. By pressing this button, you can switch between what we're in right now, which is full auto, and then manual mode. We're going to experience both of those here today, and we're going to talk about if this is still a fun ride on a motorcycle and who this bike would be ideal for. Put it in drive. I'm still getting used to the different modes and everything. All right, so you do not need to shift. The bike shifts on its own for you. Now my initial thoughts, which I've only been on here a few minutes, is the bike does ride smooth. The suspension feels good. It feels solid. I'm not feeling any of these road imperfections whatsoever. And when looking at the piggyback shocks, I'm not sure if they're true piggyback shocks or more like for aesthetic purposes. But online it did say that they are piggyback shocks. But the suspension does feel good overall. Now we're in rain mode. I feel like we've been in rain mode long enough. Let's see if we can switch while in motion, if we can switch modes. Yep, it let me switch right into standard mode. It looks like you got to roll off the throttle once you switch to activate it. But we are in standard mode, and this bike definitely moves. I will give it to the bike. It feels very light and nimble.
very unintimidating. And the fact that you really don't have to think about shifting gears is going to be great for someone who gets intimidated by shifting gears. A lot of motorcycle riders love that experience of being able to pull in your clutch, rev it up, make some brum brum noises, and shift gears. Well, on this one, the shifting experience, you can still shift gears if you would like to, but it's going to be totally different than what you're used to with a clutch and a shifter peg down on your left foot. But overall, it still feels like a motorcycle, and the bike does ride nice. We've experienced rain mode, which was toned down quite a bit. Standard road, it definitely felt different. You had a little bit more performance, but let's see what sport mode does here. Takes some getting used to feeling that motor shift on its own like a car would. All right, so we're going to turn here. I'm going to go a little bit slow because there's quite a few vehicles in front, and I do want to experience the power that will come out of this sport mode. Let me adjust this mirror. I can't really see who's behind me there. Okay, now I can. All right, so when you roll on in sport mode, which we'll do once we get right through this light. Right now it says we're in second gear. We're doing about 25, 26 miles per hour. Upsetting the truck behind me quite a bit. Oh, this works out great. We got the red light, so I will definitely get the opportunity to feel the acceleration of this bike. I just tried to hit my clutch to downshift, and I don't have to do that. If you're used to having a shifter and everything, it'll take a little getting used to. All right, so let's start off here, and we are going to roll on. Oh man, the bike is quick. It accelerates a little weird. It's like it was trying to stay stuck to the road, but oh yeah, you've got plenty of power. I mean, it's a lighter motorcycle, very nimble, and it's quick. I will give the motorcycle that. We're in third gear and it moves. It is a quick little cruiser. You got plenty of engine braking. When you roll off throttle, you feel the bike engine brake quite a bit there. This bike does move, has a little bit of power and performance, and it doesn't sound too bad either when you roll on throttle. It's definitely a different sound than you would hear coming out of something like a Harley-Davidson. But for someone who does not want or is not comfortable with having a clutch and a shifter, this would be an excellent option for them, because you can just worry about your throttle and your braking only, and you're solid. All right, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and switch into this manual mode and see what this is all about. So right now we're in manual. If I hit the button, oh yeah, you hit the one, it shifted up to 5, hit it again, down to 4, down to 3, down to 2, and down to 1. Which gives you a really hard engine brake. It kind of reminds you of when you have an automatic car and you have those options of driving it in manual mode, and you got those little paddles where you can shift into different modes. But I feel like to protect the transmission, it'll shift on its own if you don't. Let's find out if that's true. All right, so we're rolling on. We're in manual mode. No, it doesn't. It does not. It did not shift on its own. All right. So now we're in second. Let's see how it handles manual mode. Okay. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at all at the paddle shifters. The seat on this motorcycle is actually quite comfortable. It's wide enough to where I'm getting my entire butt on the seat and I am locked in. It's cradling me perfectly. You do feel the shifting versus when you have a clutch and a shifter peg. You can kind of smooth out your shifting a little bit. On this one, it's definitely a harder shift. Like, I'm gonna see if y'all can notice it. I'm in 5th. Let me drop it down. That's 4th. Oh, when you drop it down to 4th and you're still on the throttle, this baby moves up. There we go. Okay, so now we're in 3rd. We're gonna hit it. Yeah, I can. Each time I hit the shifter, you can feel it. It feels like the faster you're going or the more throttle you're giving it, you feel it a little bit less. But overall, the transmission feels smoother actually when you are in this manual paddle shifter mode. All right, let's just jump back into fully auto. So in full auto, when you roll on throttle, I just noticed we were in 6. It dropped it down to 4th gear to give you that power so that you can accelerate. The transmission works well for an automatic transmission. It does work well. And this is a great little pre-owned bike for someone that would be interested in getting on a motorcycle. They want to get out and ride with their friends, but they struggle quite a bit with that shifting aspect of riding a motorcycle. Comment below if you'd like to see us offer some of these metric options from time to time when we get a solid trade-in like this Honda Rebel 1100 that came in. It's only got 3,610 miles on it right now. It's a 2021. Rides quite smooth. The suspension feels good on here. It's a good option for someone looking for a motorcycle and they just aren't comfortable with being able to shift gears, but they still want that experience of riding a motorcycle. It does still feel like a motorcycle. Does it feel like a Harley-Davidson? No, nothing's gonna feel like a Harley-Davidson. A Harley-Davidson is a very unique motorcycle. It is a classic with heritage and history behind it. Oh, I didn't like that. It just shifted down to 1. But this is an option for someone who wants to get out and ride and just isn't very comfortable with shifting gears. All right, so let's see how she handles as slow maneuvers. So when you're doing these slower maneuvers in sport mode, it's a little difficult. That throttle's too touchy. So we're gonna put it in rain mode. Let's see how it handles. We're in rain mode. All right. That throttle is just different. It's like you can't really smooth it when you're doing these slow speed maneuvers because you don't have a clutch to feather. So I feel like doing the slow speed maneuvers on a fully manual motorcycle is a lot easier than doing it on something like these. All right, we are back in rain mode. We're gonna pull this bike right about here is a good spot. And we're gonna hop off and take one more look at it. All right, there it is. That is a 2021 Honda Rebel 1100 DCT. Bike rode pretty smooth. It's in excellent condition here, and it's available here at Speedway Harley-Davidson. So if you're someone who kind of wants to get into motorcycle riding, wants to get out there and ride, you're not really comfortable with shifting gears or a clutch, this is a great starting point for you, and we do have this bike available currently. If you're interested in this bike, make sure you comment down below or reach out at the number listed below. As always, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, like this video, and we will see you in the next one.